Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Supernatural. So, interestingly enough, in this episode, it's a lot of Lucifer trying to make things good between him and Jack. Obviously, he's playing along like, oh my god, look at me, I'm the good guy. Like, oh my god, I gave Sammy another chance. Come on, you guys, come on. Yeah, I'm awesome, right? I love because you have Sam, Dean, and everyone being like, you shut up. Don't talk to Jack. Jack, don't listen to him. But the thing is, Jack's in that point where he's kind of like, he doesn't know what he wants to do because it's like, he's always heard from everyone else how much a terrible person Lucifer is. Because the thing is, he never heard, probably if he heard it directly from Kelly, he might have a different opinion. But Kelly was like, you might want to decide to go out there and search for your dad. And it's like, that's 100%, you have that right to. She's like, don't let anyone dictate who you're going to be. And I think Jack, it's what you can understand because Jack's he's a kid who never really knew his father. Yeah, he's got this family, but you're always going to be curious about because no matter what, Sam, Dean, and Cass, they are family to him. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't make up for the fact is that this is his biological dad, which, during the whole conversation, Lucifer brought up the whole situation. He's talking about, oh, how terrible humans are and stuff like that. And then, Jack's like, well, my mom is human. He's like, great woman, incorruptible. Great kisser. She was the one that took my virginity and everything. And Cass was looking at him like, what? And he just kind of never mind. I was like, that's weird to think about. But I'm guessing was he trying to say that to make it be like, no, what happened between your mom was very special? Or was that the first time? Angels having sex, has it come up in the show before? I feel like that's had to have come up. But it had to be when, angels weren't powerful. When they didn't have their angels. Because didn't Dean and Anna get together? I'm sure, yeah, because Cass has had sex before. But that was when he didn't have, much to his grace, his powers waning. But he was still an angel, so... I don't know if it's necessarily something that they desire. It's probably kind of sex is kind of like a human thing. So, but to be fair, a lot of angels kind of have a tendency to kind of sway and become more humans, in particular Cass's case. But it's just kind of interesting because it's right, before that, you've never had sex before, which is kind of weird and interesting to think about. Interesting, I don't know if it's necessarily, I guess interesting is, it's just interesting bit of information for that to come out. So, but I love that Lucifer tries to spin everything, obviously doing his little spin, or he's kind of like, oh, well, look at me, what happened? I was locked up by my dad because I told him the truth, something he didn't want to hear about how flawed and corruptible his humans are. They're such a mess, and I told him the truth, and what did he do? Lock me away. It's like, oh, how am I responsible for all the evil in the world when I was locked up in a cage? And even Cass can't blame him for that, because a lot of stuff, to be fair, a lot of evil kind of came from Lucifer. Let's not forget the Princes of Hell kind of came from him and stuff like that. But to be fair, I guess it's just kind of a situation of demons always used to worship Lucifer until they kind of got to know him, and it's like, wow, Lucifer is a dick, and even they stopped caring about him. It's like, oh, everyone's like, oh yeah, Lucifer's bad, but it's like, oh, he's kind of an asshole, so we kind of don't want him anymore. So there's that, but it's like, he can't be responsible for every bit of evil because there's evil out there, even without him. Stuff that's out of his control. Monsters and all alike exist, so... But he tries to, trying to spin everything. I even love it when it comes down to family and stuff like that. He's like, here's your Uncle Gabe. Oh, look at him. He's such a joker. Oh, he's the jokester of the family. Because he's like, oh, yeah, what happened between me and you? He's like, look at him. He's funny. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm sure you don't want Jack hearing about the last time you and Gabriel crossed paths. Not just last episode. Even before that, when you thought you killed him. Yeah, I'm sure you're trying to skate over that really quickly. Because the fact of the matter is, it's something, and I'm sure Sam, because Jack has never gotten Sam's perspective. I don't know, because I still don't think Jack knows that, Sam was your dad's host, and made him do kind of a lot of terrible things. He even almost beat Dean to death because Lucifer was in his body and stuff like that. That even being outside of the cage, Lucifer has, because he tries to be like, well, yes, I've done some stuff here and there, but it's like, oh, I'm trying to, I'm trying to be better. And it's like, well, aren't you? And that's because Jack's trying to figure out both sides. He wants to hear both sides of the story so he can decide for himself, because that's what Kelly said. Ultimately, you'll decide who you want to be. Obviously, Mary kind of doesn't doubt things because she's like, hey, you're going to be who Jack is going to see through who Lucifer really is. And when he does, he'll make the right choice. So, he won't be swept up and pulled onto the dark side by Lucifer. And because he'll see it because he won't see Lucifer for who he really is until he sees it with his own eyes, so. The whole like the handcuffs not working on the thing, has that come up before? That must have, because it's like, oh yeah, because he figured it didn't work. I guess maybe because magic's a little wonky in that world, so it's kind of like maybe that's why. Well, to be fair, angels are a lot more powerful, so maybe they've kind of made it so like stuff like that doesn't necessarily work on, either because he beefed himself up from all the because the last time he was under these circumstances he was in a much weaker state. But in this case, it's like he was angry, plus he's been feeding on a lot of angels, so he's a lot more souped up. So that's probably why the cuffs in this case didn't work. Or maybe it's just, cause I think he phrased it more like they didn't work in this world. Like I said, maybe the angels have done something to the world, so it's kind of like stuff like that won't keep them down for too long. So, and obviously I love the conversation with like Mary being like, I can't go. These people are kind of counting on me, and I got to help them win this. And then Dean is kind of like, no, we just got to go. And Sam's like, yeah, I think Mom's made up her mind. And Dean's like, see? He's like, wait, what? Which is kind of like, it's interesting because this all ended up being Sam's plan of like, let's leave with the other people, then we can come back, arm them up, then they can come back and take back the world from Michael. But then it just isn't just a few people where it was initial 25, but it ends up being everyone, because it came down to a vote. Everyone that's a part of this resistance. It seems like, I guess they're the only remaining resistance left. Everyone else in this world are just people just scattered around trying to survive, but everyone in the resistance decided to go. Also, I appreciate the fact is Catch and Charlie being rescued. I love Sam hugging her, and he's like, oh, sorry about that, kind of apologizing about hugging her. Just he was just so glad to see her. And also Catch being like, oh, you saved me, which is a surprise, but he's like, well, thank goodness, about time you finally saved me for once, you know? So I love that. It's kind of interesting considering the fact of the matter. And I love it was that Dean was the one that helped them. And like, after everything, even he's kind of going like, even like, you know, after his little adventure with Catch, he's kind of looked at Catch upon a different way, you know? So it really kind of took me by surprise when they were like, oh yeah, so Lucifer's driving a bus. I'm like, wait, what? Even Gabe's like, you letting him do it? It's like, well, this way we can keep a better eye on him. At least he's doing something, you know? So I just love that he tried to spin everything. Like, oh, killed all those angels. So like, oh yeah, you know, don't applaud me all at once, you know. I was playing along, you know, so you guys would feel, you know, more safe and okay. It's like, you're playing so hard trying to be this good guy. But Gabe kind of calls him out later on. It's like, you act like it was Dad's fault things ended the way they are. Like, the fact of the matter is you've constantly just used that as an excuse to do everything you've ever done. Like, oh, it's all been Dad. It's all been you. You are the reason why things are the way they are. Like, you were jealous. You were jealous of Dad's creations. You got jealous because he started loving humans more than he loved you. And what did you do? You tempted and corrupted them. And Dad, trying to get rid of the cancer before it spread, locked you away. You know, it's not, he's like, because it's like you tried to play the victim in this, acting like it was all Dad's fault. You're the reason why things are the way they are. The fact of the matter is you're just this selfish prick, you know? You're always in this all for yourself, that everything you've ever done, the reason why you got locked up is because of your own selfishness. And you've got the audacity to sit here and pretend like, no, Jack is nothing like you. With the influence of Cass and the Winchesters and having a mom like Kelly, her influence, he's going to be a good person. I see it in his eyes. He will never be anything like you because you are incapable of change. And you see that stuff hits, you know, Lucifer hard. He's like, because I've changed. It's like, no, you haven't. You've literally been the same since the beginning of the series. All you've ever done is for yourself. You get what you want. And yes, you might want to claim that, oh, it's for Jack. It's like, oh, I'm trying to have a better relationship. Like, even then, it's like, what about Jack? Jack, it's because you wanted to show up your dad. It's like, oh, I can be a better dad than you. It's like you want to be a better dad, then prove it, you know, with your action rather than your words. That's your problem. You know, you're talking all this game. You're talking this stuff up. And he ends up being the one that kind of convinces Jack not to go after Michael. He's just like, oh, you know, oh, listen to that. He called me father. He's like, oh, don't worry, you know, kids, you know, you just gotta, you know, it takes the right person talking to him to kind of get them on. Because like Jack didn't want to listen to anyone else but Lucifer, which is kind of that whole father situation, kind of like. It's hard to say whether or not, because he hasn't seen the dark side of Lucifer. For him, Lucifer's always been on his best behavior. He's kind of been helpful and stuff like that. Like, he hasn't really seen what Lucifer is capable of. So, lo and behold, as they're going through the portal, got Rowena keeping the portal open. And I love when they're going through the portal, Ketch looks at her and goes, huh. And she looks at him and goes, huh. That was kind of, have they met before? Because she was, no. They had to have, didn't they? I don't remember. Maybe he attempted to kill her in the past. I don't remember. I don't remember like them crossing paths at all last season. 'Cause let's not forget, Rowena didn't die until like the end of the season. But even then, the later parts of the season, you didn't see her pop up that much. I don't think her and Ketch have ever crossed paths, but maybe they know exactly who they are. Maybe they did cross paths and I'm just not remembering. I also love Cass being like, wait, Rowena? Also, this is also Mary's first time meeting. Did she meet Rowena last season? I don't remember. Maybe she did. Even Cass being like, wait, you're alive? And it's like, well, obviously she wouldn't know, but Cass died after her too. So it's kind of like, it should be like, wait, you're alive? Oh, you're alive? It's just like, I mean, to be fair, the same thing could be said about Cass. Wait, you're alive too? So that's that whole thing. It is sad that Gabriel ended up dying. I mean, to be fair, it's like, it's Gabe. You can't tell, like, he's literally faked his death so many damn times. But to be fair, it's like this is a situation where he's in a weakened state. Who's to say he didn't just like perform a trick and he's still off there somewhere? He promised he wasn't going to run away, so I think he is dead this time. They zoomed into his face and everything. That might be kind of big motivation for why Lucifer's doing these. I mean, really quickly, I should have seen it coming that they were going to close the portal behind them with Lucifer on the other side. Lucifer's like, "Oh, I'm injured, Sam." It's like, yeah, how do you think this was really going to end? Like, after everything you've done, we're not going to let you anywhere near Jack. Which immediately my brain goes, when Jack finds out the truth, what's he going to do? Like, he might side with Lucifer rather than the Winchesters. I mean, maybe after a while he'll kind of get to see, like, Lucifer would do something in the next episode or something that kind of make him go, wait, you're not a good guy? Or it's hard to say. Because obviously Lucifer's making his deal with Michael on the other side. Like, hey, I know the ingredients that are needed. Just I'll help you gather them up. We can open the portal. And when that's done, I'll get my son. You get the rest of the world. Which obviously Jack's not going to be too happy about. Which it kind of leads into what I was kind of talking about last episode. I was like, okay, he's going to try and get Jack and just kind of go off on their own, kind of leave everyone to their vices. Not necessarily in a way, because I thought he's going to go to the portal, take Jack, and they go through, and everyone else is trying. Thought it was going to be like that. Turns out that's not the case. But it's going to be definitely interesting to see what happens with this. Because obviously you can see the whole Lucifer not being back there kind of messes with Jack, because it's like no matter what the circumstances are, that is his dad, and he just started getting to know his dad, and his dad's kind of back in his life and everything. So I mean, to be fair, because Jack kind of had to grow up fast, because let's not forget, Jack's actually not that old. He's like, at this point in time, maybe like a couple months old at best, but he looks the way he does. But I'm curious to see what happens in the long run. Obviously, it's definitely going to be interesting. I figured as much, but Michael's definitely going to find his way over here. You got everyone on this side probably trying to gather up any materials they can to go up toe-to-toe, because no one's strong enough right now, because even Jack himself isn't strong enough. But maybe it'll take the right motivation for him to summon his powers to kind of put an end to all of this. Maybe he will be the one to kind of put Michael down. It's kind of hard to say at this point in time. Or there's a whole thing about Rowena being like, oh, Sam, you owe me this time, so let's not forget. Which, once again, is kind of nice to know, like, hey, they're on good terms. But to be fair, it's still that situation of Sam is destined to kill Rowena. There's a whole thing about what Billy really knows about, like, Sam and Dean, like, what's coming that she knows they're going to need to be prepared for. It seemed like it might not just be the Michael situation, which I'm also curious, like, what this also means for heaven. I mean, it's like there's still that angel situation. Gabe's not around potentially to be that angel. So I'm assuming and I'm guessing when it's all said and done, Jack might start running heaven. That was kind of interesting too, because he was even asking about their family. He's like, oh, what's God like? And it's just like, and what's his family like? Also completely skipped over it. Cass having to meet the other version of himself. That was kind of interesting. I was kind of halfway expecting him to kind of get away or something. It's like, no, Cass killed him, but that still has to be weird. But to be fair, it's not even the first time Cass has met himself, even this season, because he met the Big Empty, which took on the form of him. So it's like, yeah, it's not like this is the craziest thing ever. He's like, you are me. And I guess that's kind of influence showing, like, obviously what path Cass could have taken, because he spent so much time with humans, he became a lot more human. Obviously, this is a Cass who stayed, on the path in angels, because this Cass never met the Winchesters, so he never, gained empathy, Interesting enough, kind of an element that Lucifer's missing. Maybe if Lucifer had met the Winchesters, maybe they could have persuaded. I mean, obviously he's had his moments of helping out and stuff like that, but once again, it's always been for selfish reasons. It's always been for self-preservation. He's always kind of gone off on his own and kind of been a dick about things, so I love him even going like, oh, hey, mama, you missed me, to Mary, and Mary just punches him in the face. It's like, I'm going to take that as a yes. So Like I said, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what goes on in the next episode because next week's episode is, in fact, the season finale. So I'm so curious to see how this is all going to play out. Because obviously, it's supernatural, so they're going to obviously end off on a cliffhanger. And I'm so curious to see what the cliffhanger is going to be. I might be a situation of like Michael just kind of raises his army, kind of gets away, and he's fine and dandy. And that's like entering him being like the main antagonist for next season is all about stopping him from turning this world into the other world. Maybe everything's happily ever after. Maybe we see Jack going dark side. There's so many different ways this could potentially go. I kind of get the feeling like Lucifer comes back and it's like, oh yeah, Sam and Dean, they left me there. You can't trust these humans. Like I said, they're flawed. And we might see Jack kind of go dark side potentially. So that could be where, because also the thing is, let's not forget, there's actually no way to actually kill Jack if he goes dark side because nothing they do can kill him. Angel Blaze can't kill him or anything, so I guess just with his powers alone, Raphael could. I keep calling him Raphael. I don't know why. Michael could just end up killing him just with his powers without having to. Because I'm curious to see will we see a big clash between them next episode or not. Like I said, I'm very excited to see what the season finale has in store for us. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.